This season is anything but ordinary for this year's Chicago Wolves squad. Brand new coaches, an NHL lockout, and a stack of injuries that continue to plague the team.
It's frustrating because you have a model or a game plan going forward with your team, and guys get injured early, so you got to kind of regroup. And you had them in there to run things, and it doesn't happen. But it's a part of the game. Call-ups and injuries you can't control. It's something that's going to happen. That happened previous years. It's happening this year. It'll happen next year. You can't control that, and we're at the back end of that. At the NHL level, you're not worried about call-ups, but you're worried about injuries, and a lot of teams have missed players with injuries, and that's why we have depth. That's why we sign extra players. That's why we have guys in lower leagues than us that we have under contract that will step in and do the job. And again, anytime there's an injury or a call-up, it's an opportunity for somebody else.
In November, Unmasked featured a guy who was on his way back from a year-long injury.
Still not where I want to be, but again, that takes time. It's not going to come back overnight, and I think maybe a month or in a bit, it's going to start falling into place. And again, I try not to think about it too much. I just try to play the game and just try to create some opportunities for everybody.
Shortly after he was interviewed, he suffered another injury. Once again, he was watching from the sidelines.
Just mentally, it's frustrating, I'm sure. I know he was frustrated at the start of this year just because his game wasn't where he wanted to be, but that was due to missing a whole year of hockey, and that's a tough thing to come back from when you miss a whole year and be able to play at the top of your game. It takes time, and like I said, it was coming around when he got injured again, so I'm sure mentally that was very frustrating for him. I know because he loves to be out there and he loves to play, and to watch from the sidelines, I've been there before, and it's not a great feeling to, when guys are winning games and you're just sitting around in the dressing room all the time and you're not being a part of it. So I'm sure he's excited here. He's starting to get, like you say, get back into skating and getting on the ice with the guys, and that right there in itself is mentally is a nice thing to have.
I think the previous season, that's what Vancouver was looking at. I highly recommended him when they were asked for a player of his ability and what he does out in the ice. He's a high energy guy, and they needed somebody like that in Vancouver. So that Steve Pinizzano was my suggestion. Totally agreed by their staff. So he actually played so well in training camp last year. He made Vancouver until he got injured up there, and he's the same way here right now. I think once he gets healthy, maybe get some games in, he'll end up back in Vancouver. I think it's frustrating for us as an organization, but it's really frustrating for him personally that he's on the doorstep of getting a chance to play in the NHL, which he never has. And he would have last year, and he hurt his shoulder, and now the lockout's over, and he probably would have been one of the call-ups, and now he's hurt. And I think it's a slow process for him to get healthy. I think he's close, maybe in the next 2 or 3 weeks, hopefully. Without any setbacks, he'll be back, maybe play some games for us, and I would not be surprised if he ends up back in Vancouver.
There's someone else Young had his eye on to directly impact the success of this squad's special teams.
Patrick Mullen, in the summer, he was one of my main target guys to get for us, and with Vancouver depth and a chance to play in Vancouver. And he was going to do the same thing for us that he would do in Vancouver. He would be an anchor on the power play. And again, by design, we just don't sign players. We have a role for every player. And Patrick Mullen was signed to quarterback our power play. There's not many players in the game that handle the puck like him, that can shoot like him, and be calm with the puck on the point on the power play, and create things because of his skill level. And it was a big blow to our team overall, and a big blow to our power play with Patrick Mullen. And he will not be back this year. It's going well, but nowhere near he can have any activity on the ice, and never mind any contact on the ice.
Don't know what I think of you.
Perhaps the biggest question mark still remains, though.
You know what, we are in a position right now with Eddie, it's at Eddie's pain tolerance, I guess, in so many words. We've done every test on Eddie that we can. I think we've done everything in our possibility in the organization to try to get him back on the ice, but he's still feeling pain. He's going to see another specialist this week. Hopefully that will be the cure for him. We spoke about frustration with injuries and that's frustrating because we feel he should be back on the ice. He feels the same way. He feels the same frustration and wants to be back out on the ice, but the pain is still there. You know, he has good days and bad days, and especially being a goalie, the way he plays, he has to have flexibility in his, his hip and his groin, and that's we got to try to figure this out and get him to a point where he's back on the ice. Concerning number one, Matt Climby's been phenomenal for us, and right now it's if Eddie comes back, he's got to fight back for his job. He's not, just because he comes back, he doesn't get the number one job, and that's the way we've always been here as an organization. There's never usually a clear-cut number one. We like to have two number one goalies in our organization. I think we've always had that here, that any given time somebody can step in and play, and that's, again, by design. Matt Climby's under contract with the Chicago Wolves for a reason, and that's why, because we know how good Matt Climby is. And Eddie's been off a long time, so when he comes back, he's got to work himself back in. And Matt Climby did it last year too. When Eddie got hurt and Eddie was struggling a little bit, Matt came in and became the goalie to go to. Again, I think I can kind of know what's going on in the goaltender's head just because I've been there, done it. It's not, sometimes I can't figure out forwards or D, but the goalies I usually do. I've had some sit downs with them, like just to find out where we're at. We've had collectively as our whole training staff, from our physio guys to our doctors to our training staff, everyone in a room with them to try to figure this out. And we had a game plan, and the game plan always kind of fall apart. And we think he's within reach of getting on the ice and doing some skating, and then he has setbacks. So it's real frustrating. Is Eddie going to be back this year? I have not a clue.